So we're going to do a home inspection on this home. The original structure was built probably in the 1500s, but it was only a few of the stone walls that survived, and then it was totally renovated and rebuilt about 30 years ago. So there's a mixture of very old and recent construction. And we'll take a look on the outside and on the roof and see what we can find. All right, let's do a home inspection here. So one of the first things you want to do is orient yourself. So stand back and figure out where everything is. Go around the house at least once on the exterior and check everything out from afar and figure out what structures you are actually going to inspect. So I have a house detached from everything else, and also have two other structures, sheds and barns and things that I'm going to take a look at for my client. And then what you do is go around the surrounding areas of the grounds and orient yourself, and then take a look at the ground that surrounds the house and make sure it's sloped away from the house. We don't want ground sloping in a negative way, allowing water to go towards the structure. We ideally want all of the ground surrounding the structure to be sloped away for at least 10 feet. And in this house, in the rear, that isn't the case. We have ground that is sloping towards the house. So I'm going to keep a mental note on that while I'm inspecting the house on the exterior. I'm going to look for that wall on the inside of the house and look for water penetration or indications of moisture intrusion. And here's one of those ancillary barns. There's the other one in the back. And this is obviously in a rural area, and the farm is in the back, and this is the backyard. And you just want to, again, step backwards and take a full view of the house that you're inspecting, and then move in closer. And what I like to look at is the surrounding area, and there is that low-lying spot. This is the back of the house, and the ground is sloping towards the structure, and that's not a good thing. And at the rear corner of the house, there is a section of the downspout that is missing, and I'm going to take a look at that corner of the house to look for water penetration. But from the exterior, I'm going to look for structural damage, maybe some masonry that needs to be repaired. And near the bottom, where the stone structure meets the ground, it looks like all of the water from the downspout has been eroding away the mortar joints. So we're going to make that as a recommendation. Get that fixed. And you also want to pay attention to the hard surfaces around the house. Make sure that they are sloping away from the house, diverting water away from the structure. And from the outside, it looks like we have 3 stories and a chimney stack. So I'll take a look at the heating source. And from the far rear yard of the property, we can see a second chimney stack. So I'll take a look at that fireplace or heating source. And it looks like we have a few tiles that need to be repaired. They have slid out of their position, and that's at the rear corner there by that one downspout issue. And at one of the detached structures, we see another chimney stack, and I bet that's for the heating system. We'll take a look inside. Inside the detached structure on the side of the house property, there is the boiler system, and the storage tanks, and the storage tanks for the water and for the fuel, the oil. It's an oil-fired boiler system, and it's mid-efficiency. So I'll take a look at how it kicks on, how it goes through its cycle. I'll look at all the valves, fuel supply, water supply, and then distribution of the hot water to the house for domestic use and at all the fixtures, and also for the heating of the system. So I'm assuming there's going to be some heating sources, heating components, radiators, things like that. And I'll also take a look at the electrical. Right now, just at a quick glance, everything looks pretty good. But I'll go in from looking at the system as a whole to looking at the components of the system individually and making sure that everything is in good shape and that I don't find any defects. So let's take a look. So we have some zones, and it's been labeled A and B, and where those zones go, the homeowner has identified for us. And we can see hot water coming in and water going out. And there are the oil storage tanks with the control valves and the gauges on the top. The condition of the tanks look good. There's some electrical components, the pump to circulate the water, valves, reducers, temperature controls. There's a pressure relief tank, expansion tank on top of the hot water boiler, and there's the fuel-fired igniter and burner with a little port that you can see the flames, the color of the flames, and also some gauges. And everything is working out really well. No electrical problems and no plumbing leaks. I do see an electrical wire coming from a junction box, and it's that black wire that leads up, circles around, and goes through the exterior wall, and that goes to the other storage structure on the property. So this is the other storage structure, and it has electricity supplied to it. So on the back side of this boiler room, there is an electric line, and it's live, and it's within reach, about 5 feet from ground level. So that's a bit of an electrical hazard that could pull off and maybe hurt someone. So that should be rerouted to something underground for safety. And from an advantage point from the house itself, second floor window, I can take a look at the roof covering of the extra buildings. And for a storage structure like this one, the tiles are in okay shape. There's obviously need for some repair. Some of the clay tiles are cracked, damaged, missing. So some professional repair is needed. When I go into the structures, I'll look up and take a look for any kind of roof leaks. And from the advantage point of the second floor window, using a spectroscope, I can take a look at the clay tile roof on the main house structure, looking for cracked pieces, damaged pieces, loose sections. So you're not required to walk upon any roof surface. I certainly am not going to walk on this clay tile roof, but I am required to inspect the roof from any vantage point that I have, from the ground, from a window, from another structure nearby, using binoculars, or using a spectroscope. And for the bathrooms, it's the same procedure. You run hot and cold water at all the fixtures, the sink, the shower, the tub, flush the toilet, and look for plumbing leaks. And check out the electrical, the light fixtures secured to the wall, the electrical supply, the receptacles, the pedestal sink here, make sure it's in good shape, and also the tiles, make sure that they're in good shape as well. And the structure, overall structure. And just like in every home, well, most homes in Spain, the water shutoff valves are in the room that you're inspecting. So if you're in the bathroom, the water shutoff valves are in the bathroom. If you're in the kitchen, the water shutoff valves are in the kitchen. They're not at each fixture, which is a little bit different than the United States. Each fixture would have a hot and cold water supply and a shutoff valve on each line. But in Spain, the shutoff valves are in the room. So I'll take a look at that. All right, let's take a look at this bathroom. And I'll run cold water, I'll run hot water, hot to the touch, or you can measure it. I'll run water at all of the fixtures, including the shower. The tiles are in great shape. I actually pound on the tiles, especially at the windowsill, pushing on the tiles and the grout lines. The surface of the tub. The sink, pedestal sink, is attached securely to the wall. The cold and hot water supply lines are there. Flush the toilet. It's functional. Secured to the floor. No indications of a toilet leak problem. Water supply, shutoff valves, main valves for all of the water supplied to the house. I like to wipe my hand at the bottom, see if it's wet. If it's wet, it's leaking. There's a heat source, radiator with a control valve, looking for any kind of water leaks or loosely secured components. The roof structure above is in good shape. No indications of active roof leaks. Lighting fixtures are in good shape. My only concern is the window inside the shower and bath area as a safety hazard. The inspection of the bedrooms and the interior goes fairly quickly. What we do is take a look at the walls, the floors, the ceilings, looking for structural indications of structural movement or water penetration. And I'm on the second floor and third floor. I'm going around at all the bedrooms, turning on the light fixtures, turning them on and off, and opening and closing all the windows and doors, and looking at the floors and the wall receptacles, and making sure everything turns on and off, and closing the doors as well, making sure all the latches work. And sometimes in a Spanish house, you'll have an electric disconnect, a breaker within the room. And there's one in here above the door. So I turned the lights on and off, representative number of windows, doors, receptacles, looking for any kind of finish problems, cosmetic defects, indications of water intrusion. And at the bedroom door where it scrapes the floor, there's a bit of a cosmetic defect there. Very minor. Open and close windows and doors, make sure they operate well, close securely, looking for wood rot, indications of water intrusion, any kind of obvious damage. Going up and down the stairs, holding on to the railing, should be secured. The space between the spindles, unfortunately, is large enough for a child's head to fall through. The radiators are in good shape. This is from the boiler system, and it has a distribution system, a single pipe system goes through in a big loop. There's the entry point with the shutoff valve, and the distribution pipes are secured to the wall. We'll take a look at those, make sure everything heats up. And in the master bathroom, we could use a little bit of sealant. There's some missing grout at the tiles of the bathroom, fairly minor. Just like the other bathroom, I'll run water at all the fixtures, hot and cold, flush the toilet, run the sink, check the valves. There's the hot and cold shutoff valve. There's the main breaker for that room. Turning on and off light fixtures, opening and closing doors. Some of the doors stick, but it's really a minor thing. And some cosmetic defect at the floor where the door scrapes the floor. And checking out the rest of the interior. Now I'm on the inside of the rear wall of the house where that negative draining is. And I can see some indications of water intrusion. There's a discoloration on the rear wall throughout the entire length of the rear wall and under the boiler, and especially in the corner where the stove, the pellet stove is. And there's some indications of moisture intrusion and paint popping off. So the grading on the outside in the rear of the house needs to be taken care of so that it slopes away properly. And the kitchen is a typical kitchen that we find. This is a very small kitchen with a dishwasher, a refrigerator, small refrigerator, a gas-fired stove and oven, kitchen sink. The fixture drips a little bit. No big deal. No plumbing leaks. There's a microwave that's attached to the wall. And the countertops look good. The flooring looks good. The clearance between the right side of the gas stove is too close to the wall. So they put a bit of a fire retardant, fire resistant, heat resistant material there. A little bit of a countertop material. But again, if you had a big pot of water, boiling water, that would we'd be concerned about the flames catching the wall or the paint on fire. So that could be a concern. So we're going to put that in our inspection report. And so above the stove, there is an exhaust fan and light fixture, but it's simply plugged in to an extension cord, and it's not hardwired. And this switch turns on the fan, exhaust fan, and light, and it's broken. Doesn't work. Here's the pellet stove. The pellets go in there, drops down into a burner chamber. The controls, normal operating controls. The flue exhaust pipe goes right outside. A chimney stack is not required. And the pellet stove is used as a supplementary heat source. Looks good. Well, that was fun doing that home inspection in northern Spain, in a rural area. And we found a few things that could be taken care of by our clients. So we're going to write that up in our home inspection report. And I'll see you on the next home inspection.